Today, I want to talk to you guys about an experience I had in New York City recently. I was attending a meeting for a group that I belong to. And when I got there, I met a friend who was like, "Aren't you going to the Gabby Bernstein show tonight in the city? I thought you would definitely be going." Because Gabby Bernstein, if you haven't heard of her, is somebody who talks about intuition, manifestation, and all that good stuff. And I had heard about the event, but I hadn't had a chance to buy tickets or look into it further. So I said, "Oh, yeah, I didn't realize it was today." And she said, "You should come." And then I looked at my other friends and we, on the spur of the moment, decided to go for the show that night. So we bought tickets and I get there and Gabby Bernstein is talking about internal family systems and the new book she's written called Self-Help. And I'm wondering if she's going to tap into intuition, manifestation, and all that stuff. And she doesn't really get into all that, but she's talking about her new book. And so I'm sitting there with my friends and we get the seating in a row where the first seat is empty. And then we get the second, third, fourth, and fifth seats. So as I'm sitting there, I'm like, why would they leave a seat empty and not give us the first one, right? And anyway, so I'm sitting there waiting for the show to start. And this gentleman comes and sits down next to me in that empty seat. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And I immediately felt his energy, right? I felt this beautiful energy come from him. And so I started having a conversation with him and I told him, he told me he was an actor on Broadway. And I told him I'm a medium. And we just started talking about Gabby and what we loved about Gabby in the past. And so as the show started, every time we got a chance in between, we would have a small conversation. And halfway through the show, I started to feel like his grandfather was coming through with some messages. And it was at that moment I had to make that decision, like, okay, do I say something? Do I not? I don't even know what's going on, but I felt the urge to share. So I did. And I asked him a few questions that his grandfather was asking. And so he started to get more and more intrigued. And then we ended up having a beautiful exchange after the show where I told him a certain, few things that rang completely true. By the end, we were all like, in tears and feeling good and connecting emotionally. And this person was a complete stranger who I would have never met had I not gone for this show, right? So while I was not connecting to Gabby's message, I was able to connect to this person sitting next to me. And I kept wondering, why am I here? Why am I here? Because I feel like I'm being taken to different places, having different experiences and just exploring and watching these amazing manifestations happen. So, I end up saying certain things to him and he didn't quite relate to all of them. So I was like, well, maybe I'm not getting the message properly. And then luckily I ended up taking a picture with him and we exchanged phone numbers. I said, maybe we'll connect in the future. Who knows? Right. And we left it at that. And then half an hour later, I get a text from him saying, "Oh my God, I just spoke to my mom and she confirmed everything that you said. And you were spot on with the first thing that you asked me. And I couldn't remember that until my mom reminded me." And so it was just such a beautiful way to connect with a complete stranger and feel that human connection, that soul connection, and know that we're all connected no matter what. Right? I mean, if I could go and show up there for him to receive this message and he could validate for me the reason I do the work that I do, I think that it is such a beautiful experience that if we could all go around the world walking and talking to strangers in a way that we can find that connection in each other, right? And this happens to us a lot of times and we don't think about it. We don't realize it because we're so caught up in the chase, right? In the chase of the ego path where we're chasing after these material things and we're trying to just get to a certain goal or a success that the society or the world has decided for us. And nothing wrong with that, right? But every now and then, what if you paused? What if you paused to see, oh, why am I here today? Or why did I take this detour instead of another one? Or why do I feel this urge to connect with somebody? And explore that a little bit more and see if there's a soul connection to be made, a spirit connection to be made. And it just makes life so much more beautiful. And I left there that night feeling so connected and so good. I think if I had to define it, I would say it's a deep connection with other human beings, right? And it's such a beautiful thing. And I hope that everyone listening gets to experience some magical connection with somebody, maybe a stranger, and just enjoy it and savor it and know that there is so much more to our lives than just the rat race that we get caught up in. So I wanted to share that experience. Like I always say, I can't make this shit up. So I love when these things happen. And there is no way in hell I would have ever known of him. I had never seen him or heard of him before that. Right. And now this might develop into a future relationship where we help each other out in certain ways, or just support each other, or just know that there's someone we can reach out to. And I have a new friend in the city at the very least. Right. And so we're going to be meeting again soon when I go back in February, and we're going to do a reading and see what comes up. And I can't wait to see all of the amazing people that come through for him. So I hope you enjoyed listening to that as much as I enjoyed going through it. And I will be back with more stories like that. Take care.